I'm joined now by Lauren Fix, journalist and automotive expert from CarCoachReports.com. Be sure to check it out when you have a moment. Lauren, thanks so much for coming on the program.
Well, thanks for having me. Yes, I'm excited to be back on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see you. You did a podcast with our friend, Paul Bryan, who passed away, unfortunately, recently. And I was thinking about him this week because I'm reading the news. And, we were seeing all this fallout from the electric car stuff, trying to push this on everybody. They're having all sorts of problems with it. And I'm reading a story about Cadillac and GM. And I remember talking to Paul, a car expert as well, who told me exactly that this was going to happen right around this time. The story is that GM is now investing in V8 engines as it backpedals on EVs. Now, I bought a car that was supposed to be the last V8 in this line from GM, thinking to myself, oh, well, I'm going to have the last one, and it would be great to have that. And then, of course, Paul was completely right, and this is exactly what they're doing.
Exactly. She did what I call the big U-turn. I mean, think about it. Here on one side, actually, she was in some Wall Street Journal conference the other day saying, oh, electric cars are the future. I still believe in them 100%. But on the other side, she put $888 million into a plant here in Buffalo, New York, the Tonawanda Engine Facility, which is one of the original engine plants, and a total of $1.4 million into the Flint engine plant to build V8s, which they're having issues with. So I think they need to figure out their V8s and maybe reduce their electric vehicle footprint, because while they're continuing 4 more products coming out, as I've been saying, and Paul did say as well, this is a disaster. I call it the future cash for clunkers.
Oh God, don't give me, you're giving me Obama era flashbacks with that term. Oh gosh. It's fascinating to see this because I mean, what Cash for Clunkers was a part of this sort of, an early part of this movement, if you will. I remember Barack Obama saying he's going to put millions of electric vehicles on the streets. It took much longer than he predicted, but we do have a bunch of them now, largely due to Elon Musk and Tesla. But stepping back from Elon Musk and Tesla, who's obviously found the niche, although it's up and down from day to day as he's fighting with the president today. Yeah. But you look at like all these other companies that try to get on this same bandwagon. Everybody from Ford with some awful, I just don't like it. This electric Mustang thing they tried to make.
I can't call it a Mustang. We'll never call it a Mustang. It is a Ford Mach-E. Great, it can look like a Mustang, but I even gave crap, shall I say, to one of the senior executives. You can call it whatever you want, but it's not a Mustang. I collect Mustangs. I restore Mustangs. Do not insult a brand that is a huge investment in your company. I don't get it from a marketing standpoint. It infuriates me.
Yeah, Lauren, go on. Before we get to this next question, go on this a little bit, because I've seen these things rolling around. They look like kind of like crossover SUVs. They look nothing like a Mustang would look. I mean, I can understand, I really can't understand, but I can theoretically understand putting an electric, drivetrain in a Mustang that looks like a Mustang and saying, oh, here's another option. It's a totally different car. It looks awful. What were they thinking with that thing?
Oh, I actually spoke with one of the main designers, and he pulled me aside and said, your name personally was mentioned in a Ford board meeting. And I went, really? Uh-oh. He says, because I have a large collection of vehicles all the way back to the 60s. That's most of my vehicles. And I have some newer ones as well, all V8. And he said, yeah, they knew people like you would not be satisfied with this. I said, it's an SUV. I said, what is your mindset on this? Just because you put a running horse on the front does not make it a Mustang. Just because you make the taillights similar does not make it a Mustang. And you're destroying your own brand credibility on that, because the customers that love those cars, the true enthusiasts from the Mustang Club of America, the Shelby Club, and all that, they're not going to buy that. Some will, but it has not been a great success for them. And he said, well, just like Porsche, which blew me away that he made this comparison. He said, well, the Cayenne's like a 911. I said, no, it's not. I own a Porsche Cayenne. It's my daily driver. And I own a 911, but they're not the same. And just because they have the brand name they're not calling it a 911 SUV. So it was a really poor brand study as far as I'm concerned. And they took a loss on everyone, just like they did on their F-150 Lightning truck.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the thing that these companies are expected to do as they transfer to electric vehicles, just take losses on every one. I mean, what it seems like maybe
That makes no sense.
No, I know. I can't even believe we're asking for it. And why? I understand there's political pressure for them to agree to go down this road, that can be tough. But wow, the way that they did it, I will never understand. Dodge has examples of this as well. The electric charger. I've been seeing, tell me if this is just what I'm seeing on the internet, if this is real. I'm seeing these cars with an MSRPs of $60,000 being offered at lots brand new for $35,000 and $40,000 because they cannot get rid of them. Is that accurate?
That is 100% correct. Tim Kuniskis, who's in charge of the RAM program today, announced that they're going to have the Hemi back. Wow. Because as he says, and as he quotes, people count cylinders. They don't count noise. And he's 100% correct. Want a loud exhaust, just like you do on your car, but I want it with V8. And so Stellantis has struggled. They have a new leader now, a new CEO. We'll see how they do. They have to understand the U.S. marketplace, which is apparently a challenge for Europeans. Because remember, we bailed out Stellantis, and then they sold it to FCA, which is Fiat Chrysler, and then they sold it to a company that's based in Belgium. So now we've got new ownership. Again, it's not a U.S. car company. Tesla and Ford and GM are the only three U.S. car companies. So if anyone misunderstands that, but they are being built here now, thanks to President Trump. But the electric ones just aren't selling. They're loud. A friend of mine has one, and he said he can't wait to get rid of it. And I said, then why did you buy it? He goes, I leased it, and I'm stuck with it for 3 years. And I went, should have asked me.
Wait, they're loud too? What do you mean they're loud? Are they just pumping in engine noise?
Speakers. No, they're with speakers inside the bumpers. So inside the car, you're getting it through the audio system. So it's piped through the audio. But out the back, unlike like a Hyundai Elantra N, where you're hearing it in the car, but standing outside, you don't hear anything. They decided that they wanted it loud because that's what Dodges are about, this drag racing type community. And I actually owned a Dodge Demon before, the 170, before they left. That was a real engine with real engine noise. So they basically took the noise and put it into speakers, embedded it in the bumper. So when you rev the engine or the motor, it sounds like an engine, and it's ridiculous. I mean, everyone at all the cars and coffee events and cruise nights are like, this is silly. It's like having a loud radio.
That is I didn't even know they did that. This is unbelievable. I just can't understand why they would go down this road. The market itself has not picked up like they expected. I mean, I think there was this thought that they get these things launched. Eventually, there'd be enough chargers around. Meaning not the what is it, the charger car, but like the actual chargers for the vehicles.
Outlets,
Yes. And there'd be enough of them. Eventually there'd be enough, and there are a lot with Tesla, I guess. And people would just be like, these are better. Like, we like these better, and it's better technology. And now that we're over ourselves with the whole gas-powered car thing, we're ready to move on to electric vehicles. That does not seem like that's happening. I mean, we saw a rise for a while. With mainly people buying Teslas, and that the percentage of the market has flattened out. It doesn't seem like it's increasing. We're still at like 80% gas-powered vehicles, fully gas-powered vehicles.
It's higher than that, believe it or not.
So is this over? Is it? I mean, are they going to try something else? Where do we stand with this?
Well, Paul Bryan and I took a ton of heat for over 20 years. And he's smiling down on me now because he knows that I was very outspoken on national news about this is great for some people. If you want an electric car, go buy one. And you should never be limited on your options, whether it's gas, hybrid, diesel. I'm a huge diesel fan. If they had put a diesel in a car, which they do in Europe, they're amazing, but they don't do that here in the US. Again, Volkswagen screwed that up and the government got involved and everything else. But beyond that, the fact is you should have choices. And when you take millions and billions of dollars of our tax dollars and say you're going to put an infrastructure in, that doesn't make any sense to me from multiple standpoints. One, the infrastructure was from our tax dollars. So if you never purchased an electric car, you paid for it. Now, if you compare that to cell towers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, they all put up cell towers, and then they worked agreements amongst themselves so that you would have cell service around the country. But not true with electric vehicles. Instead, they want us to pay for this. And that was all part of the Biden and Obama plan, was that we would take our tax dollars, instead of putting them into roads and bridges, which I just posted an article on my site about how the bridges are falling apart. And thanks to Sean Duffy, they've come up with a few $1 billion, but there's still more needed to repair the roads and bridges. And now what? So this all never made sense. And when you purchase a Tesla, who still owns about 66% of the market share, if you want an electric car, typically people look at Tesla. Yes, there's Lucid and Rivian out there. How long will they last? We don't know. Some have gone out of business, like Bollinger and Fisker, millions of dollars. It didn't make a lot of sense. What consumers want is whatever that may be. If your lifestyle is you want to travel, you want to go places, then gasoline's the way for you. If you live around town and you rent a car, you fly places, then an electric car could work perfectly for you. It doesn't fit my lifestyle because where I am up here in Western New York, there's minimal, if any, charging stations. But then they took the Tesla charging stations through what they call NACS. It's NACS, which means that all the other brands can now plug into it. So the benefit of owning a Tesla with the Tesla infrastructure is gone. And so now I can show up with a Hyundai, a GM, a Ford, whatever, and I can plug in. And now you show up with your Tesla, and that benefit disappears when there's 6 charging bays and they're all filled with other cars, and you got to come back whenever if it works. And that has been a huge downfall. Plus, higher insurance, you got battery maintenance. And if you noticed yesterday in the news, which I'm really shocked mainstream media picked it up, there was a ship filled with electric vehicles that caught fire in the ocean, and they're just going to let it sit there and burn to the ground. Now it'll be the 3rd one.
Wow, gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's not the first one. That's incredible. Lauren,
the 3rd one.
Yeah, 3rd one. Let me ask you one last one before I let you go. On Elon Musk, the news is plentiful on him. We're going to talk about it here in a little bit on the back and forth between him and Trump. What's fascinating about it from a company perspective, though, is Elon built this thing. He's a big global warming guy. He was talking about the environment all the time. Electric cars were the thing, and the left was buying them. Then he kind of converted, and he's like, okay, well, I'm with Donald Trump. He's emphasized this more conservative side. The left abandoned him. They started carving swastikas on the side of the cars and lighting the dealerships on fire.
Yeah.
If he gets into a fight with Donald Trump, what is left for Tesla? I feel like the people on the right that I know who bought Teslas because they loved how he was with Trump, they might not want that anymore. I mean, is this company going to make it with Elon at the head?
100%. And I'll tell you, so after President Trump made that statement, Elon Musk posted on X that he really didn't care about the EV tax credits. And I've reported on this. And the reason he doesn't care is at one point he was selling those carbon credits to car manufacturers that weren't making the EPA standards. Well, now that that's officially gone away, thanks to Lee Zeldin, now what? So now he doesn't need the carbon credits. He actually has figured out a way to profit with these vehicles. Not a lot of profit. And sales are down, yes, but he still owns 66% of the market share. And now that he's left working side by side with President Trump, some of his followers have come back. Plus, he picked up a lot of people that were on the right because it's really not a political position when you own a Tesla. But what's also interesting is he's got the robo-taxi coming. I'm not the biggest fan of that. That's an amusement ride for me, so I'm out personally. But he's got robots coming. Everyone's going to have a personal robot, he says. Plus, he's got other product coming down the road. And they just revamped the Model Y, which is selling really well in other countries because it's an update to what looked exactly the same for years. I'm not too worried that he's going to make money. He's very smart. He knows how to use the government to his advantage, and he's the #1 contractor for the Department of Defense. So I would not worry about him at all. He will never be eating a box of mac and cheese. So he will still be the richest man in the world. So I think this might be a good cop, bad cop with President Trump, but we'll see.
I'll say life without mac and cheese sounds terrible to me. That's just my personal stance on that. Lauren Fix, journalist and automotive expert from CarCoachReports.com. Be sure to check out her stuff there, as well as on the Blaze.com as well. There was I have the thing, we didn't get to it, why used cars are getting so expensive and what you can do about it. It's her latest piece there. Check that out as well. Lauren, thanks so much. It was great to have you on.
Thanks, Stu. I appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.